What would you do? An audio picture book by the Hampton. Narrated by Christoff Barrenger. Our story begins on a spring day. Spring, the time of the year when a young man's fancy turns to hot lust. A time when a man's pee-pee gets very mad and tries to break free of the jockey jail and find a new place to hide, if only for 6 minutes or so. On this spring day, after a nice meal and 6 shots of cheap, well gin, the happy couple now stand outside the man's apartment building. The man says as he points, "Say, June, you're swell. Let's go up to my penthouse pad and grind crotch tools." The nice lady thinks about it and says to herself, what should I do? What would you do if you were her? The man takes the nice lady up to his love den and gives her a rose. Then he takes off his clothes and prances around the bed, spraying his musk. The nice lady rubs her bottom on the floor and howls into the night as the man jumps up and down on the bed. Then he bites the lady on the back of the neck and she falls on the floor. They smoke a cigarette and he falls asleep while the nice lady cries in the bathroom and checks to see if she's missed a pill. What would you do? Would you forget your pill and have sex with a guy you really don't know? Later that month, they have to get married because she did miss a pill. The nice lady is happy, but the man thinks he's too young and he still wants to go out hoe-banging. What would you do? Would you still bang hoes? Soon after the wedding night, the baby hobo stumbles into the happy couple's apartment, has a few cold ones, steals some soap and clean underwear, and drops off a new baby for them to pretend to love and distract them from the fact that they hardly know each other and that their life is a lie based on fear and self-loathing. What would you do? Would you let a hobo with a strange little naked person into your love den? The nice lady holds the baby for a few days, then drops it off with total strangers and goes back to work because she needs to have her own identity. What would you do? Would you bring a new life into the world and toss it aside to follow a flawed concept proliferated by penis-hating, ugly closet lesbians? The nice lady cleans rich people's dogs. Dogs that they use to fill a void in their own lives that is from not being able to have children. She pursues that sense of completion from her work that she could have gotten from being a mother to her child, a child that the dog owners would gladly kill to have. What would you do? Would you see the irony? Meanwhile, the man goes back to hanging out with hood rats and power drinking with his boys. What would you do? Would you hang with the boys and tag hood rats? The nice lady finds out the man is slumming and says, "If you're going to get some hot chocolate, then so is Mama." Would you go get yourself some chocolate too? Would you? The man comes home stinking of greens and Colt 45 and finds the nice lady with the nice black man and yells. Meanwhile, the baby walks out the open door and down to Central Park. Would you go to the park alone? The baby walks by an old man at a stop sign, a hippie singing on the grass, a cool guy with sunglasses, a businessman that's tripping on X, some guy named Jason that works at Wild Oats, and a man in a trench coat that tells him he should go home. What would you do? Would you listen to that scary man in the hat? The baby meets a young couple and they play with him, then take him to their car and let him watch HBO on TV and have their maid cook him whatever he wants. What would you do? Would you go home with strangers and crumb snatch while kicking it in the lazy boy? The man cannot find his baby and is very upset and blames the nice lady. She says, "If you weren't out nailing corner tramps, maybe this would not have happened." The man jumps into his car and races away. Later, he hits a pole and is killed on impact. The nice lady thinks he got off lucky. What would you do? Would you drive too fast to make all your choices based on your needs and blame others for your selfishness? Would you? After a while, the nice couple take the baby on a plane to Malaysia and sell him to white slavers. They sell him to an Indian man that teaches the baby about Buddha. Later, the baby is sold again to Saddam Hussein and is put to work in a chemical warfare factory operated by Halliburton just outside of Baghdad. What the hell would you do? After the war starts, Dick Cheney closes that plant. The baby is laid off and wanders until a nice man that works for Halliburton finds him. He takes him on a big boat. He learns how to gamble and pick up cheap cruise workers. What would you do? Would you gamble and hit up lonely women that work on cruise ships because they have low self-esteem and deep stretch marks on their bellies? The nice man takes the baby in a cab to his home and buys him a drum set. The baby is grown now and learns to play the drums. What would you do? Would you let yourself be bought and sold over and over, only to be fired from a germ warfare plant and abducted by a construction worker, then taken to his home in Florida and given a drum set to replace all you've lost? Would that be okay with you? I'm just asking. The nice man tries to teach the boy about building and the army. The boy just listens to rap music and dreams of blowing up his biological parents if they ever come looking for him. In the end, the boy goes through years of therapy, and with the help of psychotropic drugs and a girl named Becky, he moves to the Keys and lives happily ever after. Would you? The